Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Ask Leah. Tonight's question comes from a leader who is leading a person who is from a different culture to them, a different nationality. And this leader reached out to me and they said, I'm struggling a bit because this person comes from a culture where it's really deferential to the boss. It's very hierarchical. And as a result, if I give an instruction to this team member and I say, do you understand? They say yes, and they'll smile and nod. But it turns out they don't really understand, and then they're not delivering the task that I need to. What can I do? How can I communicate more effectively with them so that they ask questions? Because this leader's tried saying things like, if you don't understand something, let me know. Any questions? And that outright, do you understand what I've asked? Now, this leader is well-intentioned, but they're right. Because of the culture this other person has grown up and been raised in, they see asking for help or admitting that they don't understand as weakness, as the wrong thing to do, thinking that the leader will think less of them if they don't have that crystal clear understanding right away. So here's what I suggest to the leader that they try. And that is framing up your questions in a slightly different way. Don't ask a question that can have a yes/no answer, because they will say yes every time. So how could you do it differently? You might say something like this. So based on what I've just asked you, how do you plan to approach the task? Or talk me through how you plan to approach the task. You might say, what's your understanding of what I just said? Can you, repeat back what you heard from me? So again, testing and checking that understanding. You might even, if you can see that they really are intimidated and thinking that you'll think less of them, you can try making it about you and your communication. You might say something like, one of the things I'm really working on at the moment is to be very clear in my instructions. So if there was one part of that task that I could explain in more detail for you to make it clearer, which part would it be? So experiment, play around with it, ask better questions, ask different questions, get them to repeat back to check the understanding, and you're more likely to have the success that you want. And then once this person gets better at engaging and repeating back, you can also gently coax them and teach them that it's okay to speak up, that in your team, with you as the leader, you actually welcome that challenge and that feedback. They won't do it straight away. They'll test it. You'll need to build that trust, but hopefully you'll get there in the end. If you have a communication, leadership, emotional intelligence, tricky people question that you would like answered, send it through and I will do my best to answer it for you next week. Cheers.